Can you retire early, but healthcare still needs a paycheck? A lot of us black women, we are so focused on how much we need to retire. But the real question is, how is early retirees paying for their healthcare when employer coverage is no longer there? Because if you don't plan for that part, retirement can feel a lot more stressful and not peaceful. So what we're going to cover today in class is pretty much what are the biggest fears in retirement, which is healthcare. Many people aren't scared of retirement. What really gets them is they are scared of losing their benefits. This is why understanding how early retirees pay for their health care matters so much. Why does employer coverage feel so important? We're used to it. You've been working your job, you do your yearly benefits thing, open enrollment and everything like that. So you're used to having it. You always have your insurance and you're like, okay, now I'm retired. I don't have this anymore. What if I got to go to the doctor? What if I got to go to the urgent care? And we sit back and we're like, we really don't go to the doctor that much. Even if, you might be on the healthier side, you may have a situation that you might be dealing with from childhood, and you're able to go to the doctor. But when you actually don't have your benefits, you're like, whoa, now you really hard up on the what ifs. And it's like, let's talk about those what ifs. What if it does happen? How are you going to take care? Yes, when you're older, when things hit you, it hits you a little bit harder when you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s and things like that. After 50, things can hit a little hard and you be like, whoa, I don't want to pay for that. My insurance paid for that last time. But in all reality, you were paying for it some way, somehow. Yes, the insurance company was taking half and you taking half and things like that. It's a game. And when you understand the math of how insurance companies work, you pay $200 a month for your healthcare insurance, right? I got the handy phone, okay? $200 a month. And we're going to use mine, $215. $215 a month. We're going to times it by 12. Okay, so every year that is $2,580 that I'm paying out my pocket, right? That's just to be safe. That's not deductibles because you got a $5,000 deductible. You got another something for this. Then you got co-pays. And then you probably got something else for something else. All those things add up, right? Think about it. You work for an organization that probably got 5,000 employees, 15,000 employees. You know how many of y'all are paying this? And how many of y'all ain't nothing happening to? And that money just sitting there for that just in case? They making millions, millions. But nevertheless, I just want to throw that out there. That's not what we're here for. I just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to put that out there. But, we get caught up in that because we've always had our insurance. And when you get to retirement age, you're like, hey, I've always had insurance. So, I got to make sure I plan accordingly. But we're going to get more into it. So let's carry on. I know for me, it's not about just keeping your salary when you retire. You worry about keeping your benefits as well. You don't really want to shake your life up. You want to keep it as somewhat the same as it's already been before you retire. You want to keep things pretty much the same. So what are some of the basic ways that retirees take care of their health care, their benefits, and things like that? Paying for private insurance, which is a lot. It can be a lot, but you can definitely go through different programs and things like that. But private insurance can be definitely pricey. Using your coverage through your spouse, because some people, a lot of us aren't just single. We're partnered up and things like that. So if you're married, you can use your spouse. You can get on his and things like that. So that's definitely something that's like, I do have a girlfriend. She doesn't even take her job insurance. Even right now, she's on her husband's. So that's another way to also save in your household. Budgeting for healthcare as a line item. We talked about that as well. Taking some funds, pushing it to the side so you can have money for healthcare. That can be done in an HSA, or that can just be money that you're putting to the side for healthcare expenses. And also planning for part-time work that offer benefits. Because like I mentioned, retirement looks different for each and every one of us. Retirement can just mean I'm not doing what I was doing. Now I'm going to still work to keep myself active or do exactly what I want to do. Because a lot of us, we're doing jobs that pay the bills, but then we can also have a job that's something that we really, really want to tap into. We might want to do something as working with children. But when we worked with children before, it didn't pay the bill, so we couldn't actually do it. So you have to find ways to, figure out how you can keep those benefits rolling. So again, retirement looks different for each and every one of us. Always remember that. We always have to remember that we can't pretend that healthcare is going to work itself out. The key to this is planning and planning with a purpose. So we have to make sure we know exactly how that's going to look. And I know for me, I'm going to give you a little snippet. For me doing SHA, can't even get it out, and also having savings, that is a way for me to sustain myself in early retirement until other things can kick in, which is like Medicare, if it's even still around. But you always want to make sure that you are comfy. And even if it's me getting a part-time job later on, maybe doing something that I really, really want to do in life. Who knows? I know before I mentioned, I was like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work. I'm hard on it. But there's things in life that I definitely want to do. And there's definitely things that I want to experience. But I know for me, I do not want to work full time when I get to a certain point. I want to enjoy my life. My life. As I kind of mentioned earlier about, different expenses, but there's other expenses that we tend to forget about in our healthcare planning. And that can look like higher monthly premiums. So those things do go up. I know for me, my insurance definitely went up. I went from paying no copay to paying a copay and then paying for specialty $95. Imagine imagine having to see someone on a monthly basis, maybe bi-weekly basis, weekly basis, who knows? And you have to pay $95 every time you go see them. You got to plan for that, especially when you're getting older. You have issues, out-of-pocket expenses, prescriptions. Yeah, you can get generic, but some things you just can't. You got to get the brand, It's not an option. And, ongoing care needs, as I just mentioned, just things that just be happening. One thing tick after the next. The dental, the vision, the therapy. We all need therapy. And I don't mean like just mental health therapy. You might need physical therapy in some way, some form, There's other ongoing things that we might need to keep things intact. And then that preventive care, the mammograms, the colonoscopies. But it's the list can go on. The list can go on. And just the overall rates just increase in time. Rates go up. Rates go up. And it's just like, yo, can I get a break? Some of us, we plan for like the premiums, like the high things. But sometimes we forget about the aftermath of the premiums. We got the hardcore stuff up top, but we didn't think about the little nuances of the little things that might happen. Like, I never forget when someone close to me was having like knee issues before they got their knee replacement. They had to pay for like the knee braces and the different things that they might have needed to keep their knee in order. The plan that they had, those things did not come with. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to give you these things. No, it was like, you got to pay for that. You got to pay for it. We just don't think about these things. But here we are talking about it, so we know at the forefront. Because a lot of us, things are hurting and aching now, and we might need that knee replacement later. We might need that shoulder rotator cuff and things like that, or that hip. Girl. So how can we connect, our freedom to our number? And, I always like talking about this number stuff because that's like the key thing to all of this. To retirement, it's a game. It's a full-blown game. And it's so funny because I sit back and think about how they tell you work 40 years and then you can retire. But they don't tell you all the little nuances at your job. And you're like, is it their job to tell you how to retire? I know my job give you like little workshops and stuff like that, but they don't go into like details like this. They just tell you, oh, you should have this in your account. When you retire, this is going to be your possible pension. This is going to be your Social Security, depending on what you have going on right now. And it's just like, it's so much more to it. So again, how can we connect our freedom to our number? Healthcare needs to be built in. It got to be built into that number. Retirement is just not about housing and food and all the other things. It's also protection for yourself, access to the things that you need, and just having that peace of mind. A realistic plan is better than a dreamy plan, okay? One thing about me, we are not gonna be like, oh, well, we can do this, we can do that, and we're gonna hope for this. No, we gotta be realistic. So why us as Black women need to talk more about this? We're often taught to just push through and things will work itself out, have faith, throw it up. It'll just happen the way it's supposed to happen. But you got to put work in. You really do. Sometimes, early retirement, semi-retirement just means slowing down. When we sit back and do healthcare planning, it makes us feel safer inside. We're making ourselves feel safe, that we know that we're going to be okay as we age and as we go into this next phase of our life. So it's about being very realistic and also making it possible and reachable. Don't have goals and these unrealistic pushing goalposts ahead that you can't reach. We want to be as serene as possible in our retirement, okay? Especially when it comes to our healthcare. So early retirement is not impossible. It just requires some honest planning, and peace comes from knowing what your real costs are and preparing for them. If you like this conversation, go ahead and hype it up, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you know another Black woman over 40 who would love conversations like this, share with her, have her come on over here, because guess what? We want to make sure our community is well lit with us Black women over 40, okay? And by us hyping the video up and liking the video and all the different things, it just pushes it out to more Black women over 40 who wants to hear conversations like this, be a part of the community, and we can just learn from each other. Okay? So, saying all that, I'll catch you in the next one.